I love this movie. Tripped Up is fantastic. It's a great coming
Oh,
story about friendship, food, and female bonding at its finest. This film is led by women in front of the camera and behind the camera. You play Lizzie, an aspiring chef who is really grinding hard to advance her career, stepping out of the shadows of her executive chef Missy, and putting behind a negative experience that she had at a cooking competition reality show. What attracted you to the role of Lizzie?
I think what attracted me to the role of Lizzie is how much I related to her in general. Also being a 26-year-old woman and being an aspiring actress in my career too. Like I'm kind of, I'll always gravitate towards one, female-led films, two, who doesn't love a road trip rom-com, and three, telling a real life story of someone who is coming of age at where they're at too. We see a lot of like coming of ages in high school, but like we don't talk about coming of age when, you're coming into your late 20s or you're coming into your early 30s. Like every decade is a coming of age. And I heavily, heavily resonate with, Lizzie being so passionate, so talented, but also at times being her own worst enemy, as you definitely see in this film.
Absolutely. Now, how did you infuse yourself into Lizzie, and what did you want to bring to the role of Lizzie that wasn't on the page?
I think for me, like already having a passion for acting, it was pretty easy to kind of substitute acting with Culinary, understanding how bad Lizzie wanted this, understanding that Lizzie, had been working for this since she was a child, which is also very similar to me as well. Obviously, it took a bit more culinary education on my end. I love cooking, not as much as an actual chef. And there were so many things I had to learn from Carrie, our writer, who was also actually a chef in real life, of how to look like I, was on track to become a chef. But when preparing her, I wanted to be very careful because I wanted her to be someone that you really root for, but someone that you could very well see, like she does get in her way a couple of times. I wanted her to have a learning lesson and not just be this hardworking character that like you see it in the end. Like that's not how life is. Not everyone is perfect. And I do think that someone like Lizzie, who is trying her ass off, also has a bit of an attitude hurdle. She still does deserve success, but she has to learn that for herself. And like I think that was what really drew me to her character, because it's like, I don't know, I'm rooting for her, but I'm also like, hey girl, like you can learn a couple things first. And I love that. I love when characters are like that.
So do I. It gives them such a third dimension that is greatly needed. Now, you touched on this a little bit. You got the opportunity to play a chef in this film. How were your culinary skills going into this film, and what did you learn about the culinary world working on Tripped Up?
Oh my goodness. I definitely thought that like my love for cooking, just because I genuinely really love cooking in my real life, and watching enough shows online was enough to make it look like I am an actual chef. I think like, there were a lot of things I learned in terms of technical terms, the way we would place something like a garnish, and just like how you would actually be in the kitchen if the pressure is on you. I think like, when I'm at home cooking in my kitchen, no one's like, okay, like, come on, chef. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to do me. So it was interesting kind of incorporating that kind of pressure that I had never really experienced as well. But Carrie was like, you're doing well, but I would tweak that one little thing you're doing with your hand and like not throw it like this and kind of like place it like this. So it was a really big learning lesson about that too.
Amazing. Now, I talked to Sasha Fox yesterday, and she told me that she created a playlist to get into her role of Taylor since Taylor was a musician. Was there anything that helped you prepare or get into the role of Lizzie?
It's so funny that you mentioned that because we also shared playlists with each other, like friendship playlists. For Lizzie, I think it was more instead of listening to music, because Lizzie doesn't really have time to listen to music, in my opinion. I think it's very like what you see is what you get. For me, it was kind of tapping into that place of seriousness. I mean, obviously, you see her have so much fun and when she's with her friends, but I think there's a level of seriousness and she's always thinking about what she could be doing better or how to benefit, her career that like, even when she is having a good time with her friends, everyone's like, come on and chill. And Lizzie's like, no, I got to focus on this. Like that is something that I really wanted to kind of infuse into her as well.
Incredible. Now, this film also stars Ariel Winter, Sasha Fox, and Ashley Moore. The four of you guys have such great chemistry together. It feels like your friendships have been lived in forever. Can you talk about building this chemistry with your castmates? And did that extend off camera as well?
Dude, it was so easy. Like, I will say this too. Ariel and I have been in the same circle since we were kids. And she was also someone that I really admired growing up, like all of her work and everything. We had met before this, and it was only a matter of time until obviously a project like this, like fireworks. Like it's like we were really catching up for lost time. Like I feel an incredible, incredible bond with Ariel, and like also knowing that we've kind of mirrored each other's experiences growing up. As for Sasha, dude, like right in the beginning, we were like jumping into the deep shit. Like she is, I could literally cry just thinking about her. She is one of my soul sisters. She is someone that, you know, I had prayed to the universe for somebody like her to come into my life. And she's like a twin flame. Like we've walked through so much since that film. And I even think as her and my relationship grew, there's an argument scene in this film. And her and I at one point like couldn't look at each other because she was like, I was going to bawl my eyes out. And I'm like, yeah, I was bawling my eyes out too. Cause like, I don't want to argue with you. Like, I love you so much. And then same with Ashley too. It's like, she is such a fun, loving and open girl. And like, we just had a lot of fun. Like, I think that was a really big thing. And like, you know, even though Mary is a bit like, in the film, you know, Ashley's not really like that in real life. And she was so collaborative with everyone else. And just like, we all really are different. Like, if you look at some of the characters, like, and how different they are, I will not say we're exactly like them to a T in person, but like, it was really cool to have this experience with these girls because it was like getting to know them in real time. Obviously, we have this bond on screen, but respecting the differences on and off screen, I think they just kind of played into each other and really helped each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And the energy that you guys have on screen it just filters right through and you can feel it as you're watching the film. And you talked about that argument scene a little bit. It feels so real. Like that argument felt like a real argument amongst friends. It felt so real. Now, you also had the opportunity to share the screen with the legendary Vanessa Williams, who also was a producer on this film. Can you talk about that experience a little bit?
Yo, she's one of those people, and I'm sure if when they walk in and you're just kind of like, are you actually here? And this is actually what you look like, and you're actually still this good, and you're just killing it all the time. I could feel that energy from her. And like, it's funny too, because obviously Vanessa is Sasha's mom. And like, you know, I'm sitting next to Sasha and I'm like, oh my God, like that's your mom. That's so freaking cool. Obviously, when we were on set, it wasn't like that. It's like, okay, get it together, girl. But like working with her, so generous, so professional, and just like you can feel it like kind of brimming off of her that she knows her worth. And she's just such like a strong woman and like such a natural born leader. Like I think anytime she was on set, if there was like something that was like, oh, what do we do? Vanessa's like, oh, this is exactly what we do. And I'm like, yes, you are. That is woman. Get it together. Like, you know exactly what to do. And like, when we were shooting our scenes together, like I didn't take that lightly. I was like, I am, you know, acting with one of the greats. And I was just so grateful to be sitting next to her and also like what information she was giving me about like her career early on, her as a woman and like, you know, what she's been through. It just was like, it was really special. And it was a really, really big privilege. It's so cool.
She has such a presence about her. It's incredible.
Yes.
Now, I've got to ask you about that hot dog eating contest scene. That looked painful. Can you talk to me about that scene a little bit?
It is grody. It was grody. I will say I am not a huge hot dog girl either. So like the way that we kind of did it, I wasn't even like eating them. I was just like, and then like throwing them out, like throwing them out. But like, it was fun. To be completely honest, like I'm never going to get to do that in my real life. I'm never going to be in that situation. Like if someone was like, hey, like, do you want to do the hot dog challenge? I'd be like, hell no. So like the fact that we get to do stuff like that on screen and obviously do it safely to where I'm not throwing up and like, it was so fun. Like it was actually really fun. And then Danny, who plays opposite me and is the villain of the film, I cannot even tell you how fun it was every single time I had to work with him. He made that day so fun, so funny. He is the best villain I have ever met in my life. And I'll tell you right now, he is nothing like that in person.
Oh, good. That's nice to hear. That's actually great. Now,
yeah.
Food in this movie looked fantastic. Did you get to try any of it? And if so, what was your favorite dish?
I got to try the tartlet that Lizzie makes in the beginning, but I will say one of the most amazing things that was actually not on screen, our writer, Carrie, actually made lobster rolls for all of us. And that was just uncalled for. Just totally uncalled for, but she did that for us. And it was really good.
Incredible. Well, look, The film is phenomenal. Thank you so much for your time. It's great catching up with you. I love this movie. Like you can't. This is so much fun. A road trip movie with your guys' energy is fantastic. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Joseph. I hope to get to see you again soon.
Yes, absolutely. It's great catching up with you. Take care.
Bye.